From the high plains of the Midwest, I bid you good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever your time zone might be. My nod to the late and great Art Bell. I'm Keith Sharp.
And I'm G. Dressel.
And we welcome you to Life After Life, a paranormal webcast where we talk about the paranormal, UFOs, or the unexplained. And the biggest question of them all, what happens when we die? Stay tuned. Hey, Garrett, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Good. Trying to get these ribs healed up, though.
Yeah, man, you need to do that.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, it's like just laying in bed, like if I turn over, it's horrible.
You're too old for that.
I'm. Shut up. I hate 30. I hate people in their 30s. But hey, we got a cool show, another awesome show for everybody. We have Miss Bonnie Rampy on. So, Bonnie, you there?
Yes. Hi,
hey,
everyone.
How are you doing? Hey, so Bonnie we had a pre-interview with Bonnie, talked to her a little bit, and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you had a stroke, you said, when all this stuff started happening. Is that right?
Yeah.
And,
oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and I remember talking to you, and you said something about before the stroke and before the UFO stuff, you had paranormal stuff happen to you, right? Okay.
Yes.
Start at the beginning.
Oh, well, as a child, I saw, shadow men and just different paranormal things throughout my whole life.
That started when you were a child, you said? Like, how old were you when all this stuff started?
Probably around 5.
Wow.
5. Yeah, there were some stressful things going on in my life, and I caught the attention of a shadow man.
Oh man.
Yeah, and they often come to children. So.
And they're kind of evil entities, aren't they?
Yeah, scared the.
But Jesus out of you?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I would go to different. My mother would take me to what do you call them? Civil War
Battlefields. Yep.
Yeah, and plantations and things like that, and I would hear things and see things, and yeah, that was.
Did you mention it? Did you mention it to your mom at the time?
No. I was 5 years old, and I was washing the dishes. I was standing on a chair, and behind me, I could feel like something or someone was there, and I turned around, and there was this apparition. I'm sorry. My stroke affected my speech. So the left side of my brain. So my speech can mess up sometimes. So I apologize for that.
No need to apologize. Take your time. It's fine.
Yeah. He had a red beard, overalls, and no legs. And I freaked out, and I ran to my mom. She was in her room, and I freaked out. I mean, like, I was hyperventilating, and she didn't believe me.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was all in my own head.
Right.
But with everything that was happening, I just knew that there were spirits and things out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept it to myself.
Yeah, I mean, and then adults, like, I remember when I had stuff when I was young, it's like the parents just don't want to believe, and
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if it's from just because they're scared, because it upsets their world as well, and they don't want to believe that there's actually ghosts out there, or if it's just I honestly think it's just nonsense. I don't know.
Well, I think, because I have young kids too, I think it's easier to just be like, well, my kid has a great imagination.
Yeah.
Like that's just, they're, you see your kids playing with their toys and, and so you automatically probably just assume, that's just their imagination. I think the most impressive thing you've said so far, though, is that you were doing dishes when you were 5.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I want my 5-year-old to do dishes. Good job.
Yeah.
Well, my mom was not the nicest woman on the planet.
Right.
And,
So you were doing dishes.
and she had, I always had a list of chores.
Right.
It's weird, Bonnie, because this is something I've noticed through my research and everything. It seems like children who were abused have these problems, have these ghost problems.
Well, I was going to say earlier, because she said that she was kind of going through a rough time. It's almost as if like you're exposed in that way, especially as a child, you're much more susceptible for something to cling on to you.
Yeah, I wonder if that's. I wonder if that makes you a target for. I mean, they look at a child, being innocent and easily manipulated, and a weaker being, probably what they think,
right?
And attach themselves. I mean, how horrible is that, though? That's not right.
Also, children are just bright lights, and they're closer to the other side. So
they've got a lot of energy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and you're not this world is kind of like a wet blanket over your head, when you get older, and when you're a child, you're just so open.
Right.
You are just wide open.
Yeah, and you're fresh.
That's a great way
fresh
to put
from
it.
the other side.
Yeah.
I think it's why children see things because they're just right. They're fresh from the other side.
Right. Yeah, they're not too far away from it.
Right. So you get a little older, and how old were you when you had your stroke?
I was 37. Which
wow,
is
that's young.
Very, that's young, and but before I was just like straight up paranormal, I was part of a investigation team. I was really into it.
Wow.
So, and my house was like full of signs and lights coming on, growling, all kinds of stuff.
So before your stroke, you were a paranormal investigator. You did ghost hunting.
Yeah. For a few months, but I had to move. And I moved into a basically a haunted house.
Good choice.
Wow.
Yeah, it was my grandparents. And after they passed away, my dad got this house, and I moved in. So.
And then did you immediately start? Well, because it was your grandparents' house, so you had been there before. And when you were there before, did you ever encounter anything, or was it not until they passed away?
It was after they passed away, and I began living here.
Right. So you're still living there?
I still live here.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's a really special property.
Cool.
Very, very special.
So do you still have experiences there as far as paranormal?
No, I don't.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of wondering too. Is like, because I remember you saying, I can't remember if it was that last, if the interview you did with, what's his name, Craig or something, that one I watched, and I thought you had mentioned something about like you had paranormal stuff, and then after the stroke, it was more of a extraterrestrial kind of thing started happening.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I had already been, spiritually protecting this house. But after my strokes and beginning, starting to see crafts and stuff like that, it was like all paranormal stuff stopped. It was kind of like I have like a dome of protection over my house, honestly.
Wow. That's what I was getting ready to ask you. So you think the extraterrestrials actually ran out the evil spirits, correct?
Yes.
Do you think that it was like, do you think it could be a thing where it's like competing energies?
I don't know. I just think I needed a break. And I feel like my visitors That's what I call, my crafts and stuff like that. I just think I really don't, I don't really know.
Well, that's why we're doing the podcast. It's unknown.
But we're going to figure it out by the time this interview's over, Bonnie.
I don't know if you've noticed or listened to any of our other stuff, but I actually solve every episode we do. I actually solve the unknown. So by the end of this conversation, I will have an answer.
Yeah,
for
it's
you.
like a 30-minute television show. It all wraps up like a little package by the time we're done.
Oh yeah.
So you called the right people.
I did see the Halloween
good.
show.
Very good.
and you figured out Keith's
I did.
fighting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you came to the right place.
Well, Bonnie will tell him he solved it, right?
Yeah.
All right.
But I do wonder about like the energies, because a lot of the conversations we've had and it's always coming back to the energy of this and the energy of that. And even on the paranormal side, Keith had talked about the amount of energy it was taking for this entity to lock his ex-wife out of the house. And so, and even, when we've talked about the UFOs or the extraterrestrials and the sightings and stuff, just the amount of energy that it would take to be in a place. And so that's why I asked that question. I just didn't know if maybe the amount of energy from the crafts that were coming in was almost like pushing away the energy of the paranormal to the point where it was almost no reason for them to be there.
Yeah. That does make sense, because every time I see a craft and they're flashing at me or they're glowing and then disappearing, it to me what they have told me is they're raising my consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's always very high vibrational when I see them. And I just, before the strokes and everything, things were knocking on my door, and I would go to the door and nobody was there, and knocking on my windows, and
God, that freaked me
all
out.
I'm good.
All kinds of stuff was going on, and it always scared me.
Of course.
Except for when my grandmother came and visited, that was very positive. But
and you could feel that. You could feel that energy being something different, right? When your grandmother.
Actually, it's my grandmother's perfume.
Wow.
I hadn't smelled it. I was laying in bed, and I was about to go to bed, and on my pillow it smelled so strongly of my grandma's Chanel perfume.
Wow.
And I hadn't smelled that since she was alive.
But you knew it
and
immediately.
I sat up. I smelled the pillow like all over.
Yeah.
And I was like, Grandma's here.
Yeah.
And then it just disappeared. Like
Man.
The smell was gone, and it was just like she was here. She was here.
Well, it's interesting because we have my wife's grandmother passed away. I think Granny passed away 2 years ago, Keith.
Yeah.
And shortly after that, she had a very vivid dream where Granny came to visit her, except it was a younger version of Granny, and she was very happy and dancing. And she actually,
oh my God,
well, it's crazy because Keith's father, rest in peace, Grandpa, passed away recently. And literally the same exact scenario happened to where Grandpa visited my wife in a dream to the point where she was pretty shaken up afterwards. It was a great experience. Grandpa looked healthy and happy, and he was enjoying himself, and he was trying to speak to her and things. But the fact that it happened twice in a row, and that it was just so spot on and so real. I know Cass woke up the second time. The first time she was like, wow, was that like me, my imagination? But when it happened again, the second time, she woke up pretty shaken up and was like, Grandpa visited me last night. And it was almost the same exact scenarios. It was amazing.
Yeah, I've seen my grandmother in a dream where she used to be a jitterbugger. She used to dance.
Right. Yeah.
When she was young, and we danced. And when you said dance, I was like, what?
Yeah.
And she was so young, and she was just so vibrant.
Full of life. Yeah.
And plus, my dad had these amazing dreams. He's very scientific. So he's still on the fence about these dreams. But, my grandma and my grandpa were in, several dreams of my dad.
And he's on the fence a little bit about it because of his scientific background.
Yes. Anything spiritual or anything like that, he's very, very skeptical.
Yeah.
And I respect that. I totally
100%. 100%. But I was skeptical until I met my father-in-law that's sitting next to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I had a crazy experience, about 15 of them in a row.
Yeah,
And then
I taught him all about the paranormal world.
and my life's never been the same.
Yeah.
But in a good way.
So, Bonnie, let's go back to that first day you had the stroke. What happened, and do the doctors know why at such a young age you had a stroke?
No, actually, the doctors are still puzzled. It's a mystery. They asked me if I had been in a car accident,
Mm-hmm.
if I had
Any head trauma
been
in the
attacked.
past or anything?
No, they thought I had been in an accident or been attacked, because to have your carotid just to slice like that, something normally happens
Mm-hmm.
to cause that. And all I was a caregiver for the elderly.
Right.
That's all I was doing. So,
Did it happen at
and
work?
No, it was 10 minutes after I got home.
Luckily, you got home, right?
Thank God it didn't happen while you were driving.
Yeah, yes. Well, I had these mini strokes, but I didn't know that's what was happening to me for a few months before the major strokes. But yeah, the doctors have no idea. And so I go home, 10 minutes I get home, and then my vision fails, and I can't control half of my body. And,
Wow.
I was also a medical assistant in the past. So I knew immediately, I was having a stroke. So I called 911 and grabbed my purse and sat outside because my driveway, it's hard for the ambulance to find.
Mhm.
So yeah, but they got me, and they were asking me all sorts of things, and I couldn't speak. And then things got a little bit better. Like the stroke calmed down, and I got to the hospital, and I had another one.
Oh my God.
And then it's weird because it got better again. And then on the third one, because they didn't believe that I was having a stroke.
Right.
I was telling them I was having a stroke, but they were like, her age, this doesn't make sense, and then, they did a bunch of tests, and then they realized, oh no, she's having stroke.
Did they not?
So,
did they give you the TPM shot?
I don't know.
What is a TPM shot?
TPM
I
shot
don't know.
is they give it to them. I believe it's through the IV. It's supposed to break up clots, and it
Reduce the chances of
Yeah.
another stroke.
yeah, it reduces the chance of a full stroke, and it's supposed to prevent it from getting worse.
Hey,
Yeah.
can I ask you what your mini stroke? Just because I'm curious. Like when you said that you were having mini strokes, did you realize it at the time, or is it in hindsight, looking back?
Hindsight.
And what
Hindsight.
what were those like?
Well, my this is really weird. My eyes would just immediately just, start crossing, and everything would start to spin. So I just thought it was just, like I'm having vertigo or
Right.
something's wrong with my ear or
Yep.
something like that. Yeah, I had to sit in my driveway one day. I was bringing back the garbage can, and then it happened, and I had to like sit down. And other things, I was seeing like weird shimmering in my vision, and strong headaches. Like just really, really strong headaches. And
So about how long before that was your stroke when you started having the TIA symptoms?
it was a few months, maybe 4 months. It was.
Oh wow.
I was having many. Yeah. Well. So I'm not sure about the shot. I'm sure if I'm sure they did.
Yeah, that's usually pretty
I
routine now. They give the TPM shot to reverse a stroke. I mean, and well, what year was your stroke?
2017, and that's really
Okay.
that's really hard for me because time since my stroke, time has been very weird for me.
How so?
Like no time really. There is no real time. So
Interesting.
all time is now, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it really is. It's just we have linear time here on Earth,
So what else? What?
Oh, so okay, so you had your stroke. After your stroke, about when did you have your first encounter with an extraterrestrial?
Well, we might want to go back to my near-death experience.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So on my third stroke, I went out of my body because my head was hurting so bad. I went out of my body, and I was watching the nurses messing with me and all this stuff, and I felt completely free. It was wonderful. And like my whole body, I mean, I wasn't in my body. So I
Right.
just felt so wonderful. Bliss. It's bliss. And then all of a sudden, poof, I'm out in the middle of the universe. And there's like this, kind of like a big giant rock. And there's this not strong, but soft grass, and I'm walking on it, and it's like the softest grass I've ever felt. And I'm looking left, and I'm seeing galaxies and nebulas and shooting stars, and just it was so absolutely beautiful.
Euphoric. It sounds euphoric.
Yes, it is so euphoric. And then all of a sudden there's this giant sphere, and all knowledge and creation and love and good and bad and just everything was coming from this sphere, and it was going through into me, and I knew that I was one with everything.
Wow.
And but I was also myself.
Wow.
So it was
So was it like
the most amazing thing. It was the most amazing thing that ever happened to me.
so the qualities of
so
where you're
beautiful.
at had like Earth? It was like just a better version of Earth. You said there was grass, soft grass under your feet.
No, it was kind of like a big chunk of earth floating in space, and there was grass on it.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
How long do you think that you were in that state? I mean, again, I don't want to, like, with time and everything, there's probably no way to even
There was
tell.
no time. There was no time. There was no time.
And did you just like poof, like arrive back into your body?
No, I was told. I heard a voice, and it said that everything will be fine forever.
Wow.
And I felt bliss again and love and just felt free and myself, but I was one with everything, and then poof, I'm back. And
You're like rats.
and the nurses were looking at me because I was smiling. I just had a stroke and I was smiling.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, beautiful, beautiful. I could get like maybe 1 or 2 words out.
Mm-hmm.
I said soul group.
Soul group.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so beautiful.
So the experience that you're talking about here, it seems almost overwhelming, but in this just unbelievable, unfathomable way that we can't encounter. Does that make sense? Like whenever you're speaking about it to me, I'm like, man, I want to achieve that. But it seems like so overwhelming. It's all at once and it's coming at you, and all you can do, and you're having a stroke and you're in this state, is smile and say beautiful soul groups. I mean, that's remarkable. It has to be quite the feeling that will be really hard to unpack and to figure out.
Well, I just know that the source is real, and like that's what happens when we pass. You know, if we can make it through that ghost realm or whatever you want to call it,
Right?
you know, if you can get past that, you can. I would call it ascend.
Right? Yeah. Ascension.
And you become one with everything, but you're also who you know yourself too, and that to me meant the world to me.
Right.
Meant the world.
Yeah, that stuck out to me as well, that you still felt like yourself, because that's important, right? That's important to have that core of who you are and still be able to feel all these things.
Yeah, that's something I've always wondered too, because it's like I like myself,
right?
You know, I want to retain myself. You know, on the other side, have the same personality, hopefully, and
just be better. Like you're gonna have all these things that are coming at you. Like you're just naturally just gonna be the best self you can possibly be.
Right. Yeah, but what about when you reincarnate? I mean, you might have a completely different attitude, different personality. But what I want, like the state I'm in now, is that how I really am, my soul? You know, I don't know.
It's a good question. It's a really good question.
Because I want to be Keith on the other side, Bonnie.
You want to be Keith?
I do.
Other side. I get it.
It's what you just described, that near-death experience, and her name was, I believe, Kathy Owen, that called in one of our shows. And it was almost exactly the same, where she's
almost all near-death experiences are the same.
Well,
it sounds like
wild.
Because then most of them don't want to come back. I mean, Bonnie, when you were experiencing this bliss, I mean, when you came back in your body, were you like, oh my God, really?
Oh, no, I was completely happy.
Happy to be back.
Very happy. You know, even watching a sunset, it just, you know,
meant something.
My heart was so full of love, and it lasted for about a year.
That's really inspirational.
Wow.
It felt, it was bliss. I'm telling you.
So you came back very enlightened.
Something changed. Something definitely changed.
Well, your perception of reality.
Oh yes. But my problem was that I couldn't understand humans' problems. Like everything seemed so simple to me. The answers were just so simple, and it's just, you know, more love. You know, stop doing that. You know. So
you were looking at
it was.
Yeah, you were looking at things and being like, "That's petty. Like, what's the big deal?"
Yeah.
Like you have no idea what to look forward to.
Well, because I knew that everything would be fine forever, and that meant for like everyone.
Right.
Like even when we go through bad things, you know, you're gonna be okay. And if you die, and you can,
ascend.
you know, bypass the ghost realm, and you can ascend, then there's nothing to fear. There's like no fear.
I
Zero
love that.
fear.
So, I'm glad that you mentioned that everything is going to be fine, because that was also a question I had when that voice came to you. Can you describe the voice? Like, was it a male? Was it a female? Was it just something that you can't describe? Like you.
I can't describe it. It was. I can't place it. It seemed kind of male, but it also could have been female. I'm not sure if I actually heard it or if it went right through into my brain, or I don't know.
Well, you were experiencing everything at once.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and you didn't.
Yes,
and you didn't see a being, right, that said these things. It just that popped into your head.
No. All I could see was a giant sphere.
That's phenomenal. What color was the sphere?
So beautiful. It was like this white goldish light, and it didn't hurt my eyes, and it was just so God.
Is it like people that I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Bonnie.
Jeez, Keith.
I'm sorry. No, because I got so many questions. It's
He's so excited.
No, I am excited because people always, they have the near-death experiences, and they talk about there were colors they couldn't even explain. That it was so beautiful that there wasn't a color on Earth that they could describe it as.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of like when I was looking out into the universe. It was just
unexplainable.
like breathtaking, make you want to cry, beautiful.
You're kind of making me want to cry right now, honestly. Like thinking about it.
His eyes are getting all watery.
They are, because I just think that's unbelievable. That's so awesome to think that. Well, and it's unfathomable. It's like what we strive for as humans on a daily basis. Like nobody wants to wake up and feel shitty.
Yeah.
But 99% of the time we do. Like every night I want to wake up, I want to be like, man, this is going to be the best day ever. And it sounded like you experienced something that none of us that we all strive for. Yeah. And in a moment, and I like the fact that you say that you felt like yourself, because for me, that's so like important.
It's comforting.
Well, and it's symbolic, because then when she comes back to the real world, she's coming back as herself. Right. So she's able to bridge the gap between what she experienced and who she is. And I feel like if you would have been in that moment and you wouldn't have felt like yourself, it would have probably been much harder for you to feel that for the extended amount of time that you did afterwards, for that year when you're seeing the sunsets and you're still in awe and you're feeling euphoric. That's so key. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. About a year after I began what I call, just coming down, and it began to be hard to be in this kind of 3D reality, and also being part of everything else in the universe,
Right.
It was.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question, is what changed in that year? Because I remember you said it lasted for about a year and then it kind of tapered off, I guess.
Yeah. Just negative people.
And it probably is. It's probably very frustrating when you have an experience like that and you do get enlightened with a lot of answers, but yet you see a whole world of negativity and people that could actually change their personalities by just changing their thinking. Some very simple things that people could do. Those people that are angry all the time usually just have shitty lives. They're unhappy. They're mad about everything.
Their perception of what is happening is in that it's going that direction. So
right. So I could see that being a real struggle for you.
Well, also, my problem was I was feeling sadness for the first time in a year, and anger, and all these crazy emotions,
human
were
emotions,
coming back.
Right.
Yeah, and it was really hard.
Well, and for
very hard.
Yeah, and for somebody like just for like me, right? And the work I do and stuff, there are moments where you're frustrated and you're angry, and that's just like everyday life. And so for you're able to take a break from that, and you're like, oh man, this is unbelievable. And so for it to come back, it would almost come back like tenfold. It would be like, oh my God, get out of here.
Yeah, it'd be so much worse.
It felt like I was like a baby taking my first steps again. That's what it felt like. Like it wasn't easy.
Right.
And I finally, just kind of leveled off.
Right.
Where, anytime I want, I can tap into the universe. So
you found the middle path.
Yeah. And so, when things get crazy in life and stuff like that, I'll stop and I will tune in to the universe. And yeah,
that's what we all need to do.
I know I sound a little crazy.
No, because that's what the Buddhists call the middle path or the middle way. And that's something that they believe everybody should strive for every minute of every day, is to find that middle path, the in between, right? And so it sounds like it's crazy that you brought up, you used the metaphor of learning how to walk again as a baby, because earlier when we were talking about your paranormal stuff, we kind of got into the topic of like how kids are like sponges, and you used the wet towel analogy, which I really liked, our perception of the world. And so it almost seems like when you had your near-death experience that you were a child again, that you were innocent, and you had all these feelings that, like, because I have a 1-year-old, I have a 3-year-old, and I have a 10-year-old. Right. And so it's funny to watch their development and how my 1-year-old is now. Like, for instance, she was walking around the backyard the other night, kicking a soccer ball and eating a piece of dog poop. And I was laughing about it because I was like, dude, how funny is that? Like, she's enjoying this piece of dog poop, and my wife was freaking out.
And you did stop her, right?
No. I was like, let's get the phone. Let's get the video.
Oh my God, Garrett.
No. And so, but point being is that she's so innocent, right? And so it sounds like when you had this NDE, is that you came back so innocent, free from fear, free from anger and despair. And so whenever you started to walk again in real life, or no, I shouldn't use that word. So whenever you learned what those feelings were starting to come back, it was so magnified because you've had them before and you thought they were gone. That's intriguing to me.
Yeah, it was kind of like a purification, if that makes any sense.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. You're right, yeah.
That's what it was, and that's one of the things that my visitors, my crafts, they tell me little things, short little messages, and I was asking them one night, like what happened during my near-death experience, what happened? And I got purification.
That's what they said? That was the words that they used?
The word. Yeah.
Wow, that's an awesome word to describe it. I mean, after everything that we just talked about, which is highly intriguing and interesting, to sum it up into one word as purification that's almost enlightening within itself.
What a great word.
I know. Wow, yeah.
Absolutely.
So it just washed over you.
Well, I guess so. And man, there are times that I wish I could just go back to that first year and just, take a long break from,
little sabbatical.
These emotions, because it's
So when did the craft start coming to you?
Yeah. So when was your first sighting of a craft?
Okay, it was about 3 months afterwards, after my stroke. And do you want the story?
Absolutely. 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Tell me everything, Bonnie.
Okay. I'll tell you it all. So I'm outside by myself, and I'm stargazing, and I'm looking at the universe, and I'm just like, wow, it's so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. And I've always been a little bit psychic. And all of a sudden, out of my mouth, the word Pleiadian came out. And I laughed to myself. I was like, Pleiadians? Like, really? And then, bam, flash, 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 right above me. And I was like, are you kidding me? Did that really just happen? And I got flash, flash, flash. And this is like right above me. And I started laughing. I mean, because I had zero fear, no fear at all. And I think that's part of the reason why they came to me, was because I had zero fear.
Right.
And I laughed, and then there was 3 more flashes, and then it was gone. And then 3 helicopters came and began circling around my street, my area. And I was like, did that just really happen? Oh my God. And I called my dad. Because, yeah, my dad is very scientific, but he also gave me Chariot of the Gods by, that book.
Okay.
Oh, is it Daniken or something like that? And it's about aliens and ships and stuff like that. So I called him and I was like, UFO. I couldn't really speak, so I was like, Dad, UFO, UFO. He's like, oh, really? Oh, okay, all right, Bonnie. And I was like, no, really, Dad, I just saw a UFO. And he's like, all right, okay, Bonnie. I was like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
And I just, I spent the rest of the night just like my mind had been blown. My mind had just been
So they're
completely
hovering.
blown.
So how many were there?
No, it was one.
Okay,
it
it was one.
And it was flashing me. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
And so could you just see the
that's-
flashing, or could you see the actual, like, was it just flashing, or was there an object around it, or?
I sensed the craft.
Okay.
I saw the light,
Okay.
but it was like I knew it was like right above me, and it looked like they were taking pictures from space. Like,
Wow. Yeah, they were
It
definitely
was so
scanning. They were
bright.
definitely scanning your face.
oh yeah. Well, they had already done that. I think they
Right.
had already, checked me out first.
So, and because you mentioned that when you talked to your dad, you were kind of still having trouble speaking. So you were like, UFO, UFO. And then, but when the crafts came, before you called your dad, you said, what was the word you said again? Pleiadians?
Pleiadians.
Pleiadians. Okay. So you're having trouble, but yeah, that came out of your mouth. Like you verbally said that.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's crazy.
I didn't. I didn't get that. Yeah. That's.
That's wild. Yeah.
I had heard about the Pleiadians like 2 years ago before, and I wrote it off like, oh, okay, like supermodels in space. Yeah, okay. And I just thought the only thing that I knew about were the grays. That's all I knew.
So I'm kind of the knucklehead in the group, and I'm learning a lot of this stuff like as we go. That's kind of one reason why I'm so intrigued by talking and speaking about it. Can you explain? Because I feel like there's going to be people that listen to this that probably don't know what Pleiadians are. Like, what is Pleiadian?
They're the beautiful people, right, Bonnie?
Yeah, they're see, I had to learn on my own too. So I usually try to keep with what my visitors, the Pleiadians, what they tell me.
Okay.
But,
yeah. What did they tell you?
From what that they look a lot like us, but they're taller. They're taller. They've got larger eyes than normal, but they're all built very well.
That's interesting.
They really are. That's what I get.
They're the supermodels of space.
That's that's the best way as I can.
So you just blurted out Pleiadians.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So do you think that was them channeling you to make you aware of who it was that was blasting these lights at you?
Bingo. Yeah.
Okay. So after this experience, did your dad come out and like check on you?
Yeah. About a week later, he came down. He saw, I had begged them to show themselves to my dad, and it went by this one craft 7 times. 7 times.
In front of your dad?
And it disappeared. Yeah, in front of my dad.
He saw it?
And it would disappear. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, but it was way up high.
Yeah.
It was way up high, but it would just disappear. And the only thing my dad said was, well, it's weird that they disappear. So, yeah.
Weird.
Man.
My dad's the type of person that, he'll believe it when he meets them.
Right. So
he's never going to believe,
he was
is he?
Still skeptical after that?
I tried to tell him that every night they're coming.
Hey, deep down inside Bonnie, he was like, okay, that's real.
Yeah.
Dads have to be right,
Well, my dad, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, man.
No, that's okay. You were just talking about how they are coming every night.
Yeah. I was trying to tell my dad, they're coming every night. And he's like, oh, come on, Bonnie. Maybe once or twice in your life you can see a UFO or something like that. But, every night. And I was like, yes, Dad, every single night.
Well, does he look at your Facebook page?
No, he doesn't. He, and I used to send him loads of pictures and videos and all that stuff, and he just told me, well, what's all those, flashing lights gonna do for you,
Mm-hmm.
It's a reminder, right?
I tried to tell him, it raises your consciousness, and no, and oh no, you can't tell him that.
Yeah,
you can't tell him that.
So is he like is he like a Christian belief, or what kind of beliefs does your dad have?
No, he's more atheist.
Just science based. So he wants the hard facts. He wants to be able to put his hands on it and
right.
Okay.
Yeah. And that used to really upset me. It used to, because I really wanted to share this with him.
Right.
And I just realized, it's not for everyone.
Well, and I think too, though, because I was speaking with Keith about this recently. So I own a facility, like a training facility, okay, and we have tons of families that come in and out. I talk to parents on a daily basis, people that are around my age and older, and grandparents, everything. And since we've started this podcast, I've been discussing, our topics with parents, and I've been flat out amazed about the generations of our generations and below that are now opening up to the ideas. Like, there are way more believers than I would have. I mean, people that I speak with on a daily basis for 3 or 4 years, I bring up UFOs or aliens one time, and they're like, they're real.
Yeah.
I was talking. One of the guys who works for us. He's one of the first engineers that a big corporation. I'm not going to name a corporation on the podcast, but it was a big corporation. He's an engineer, so he's very, analytical, and he's a huge critic. I think it's fair to say he's an a-hole. Okay, he's one of my best friends, but he's an a-hole. And but we sat there and talked about UFOs for about 2 hours last week, and it was just mind blowing. And so it goes back to that consciousness that you're speaking of, where I think that nowadays people are, with the internet and just how fast things are moving and technology, we're just so much closer to it now that people are more open to accepting it, and at least accepting the idea, right?
Oh yeah. I have seen so many beautiful home videos of craft, and it's just like more and more and more people are seeing them, so that's really exciting.
So the helicopters, are they getting tired of coming out to your place? No, they still come on. It's not every time. It's just when the craft gets low enough. Right.
So,
wait, so you're talking about legit helicopters?
Yeah, Blackhawks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's Blackhawks. There's regular helicopters. I saw 8 Blackhawk
so just
helicopters after I had a really beautiful sighting, and there was like 8 of them. And I think I still have the video of
That's
that.
cool.
I
Well, Blackhawks are sweet aircrafts anyway, so just seeing a Blackhawk's cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So are these helicopters, are they chasing this thing or trying to, or just observing it? What are they doing?
I don't know. Because, sometimes my visitors, they have a good sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they will show up right in front of a plane and and fly with it and then disappear.
Well,
and
why
I'm like,
not?
Okay.
Yeah, I would too. I would too.
I just laugh. Because, these things are not made by men, and they are really fast, and you can't catch them. You can't catch them.
Hey, this just made me think of it because I was actually in the military for a while, and we have a guest that comes on who is also in the military with me, and he was stationed at Area 52 up in Utah. And that's the only information I'll give on Larry. But Larry worked in radars. That's what his big blimp was, a radar.
Yeah.
Essentially was a radar. And so that's the question we need to ask him, because I feel like if she's having these crafts that are coming low, they're probably just popping up on a radar every now and then, just a burst of energy.
Mm-hmm.
So they're deploying,
Right.
they're deploying these Blackhawks out there. It's like, let's go check it out. And they probably, I guarantee you they've seen some. I know some Blackhawk pilots down there right now.
Oh, really?
I should ask them. I'll text them when we get off.
Yeah, but don't
be like, hey,
don't give away Bonnie's secret though.
No, I would just be like, hey, do you guys ever see like anything out there? Just do you ever see any? We're doing this podcast. I'm just curious, and we need to ask Larry. I wonder if he ever picked up.
How
anything.
funny, Bonnie, would it be if we had the helicopter pilots that are flying around your house on the show?
And they're like, yeah. No, I do. I am curious though, as to, because I mean, there has to be something about a radar. They have to know that they're in that area. You know what I mean?
I'm sure it's just like you said. They pop up on the radar.
Yeah.
And then I bet they pop off of that radar.
And I'm sure they're like, okay, well, that was just, I don't know what the word would be, but like an inconsistency in the radar pickup. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or they're like, shit, they're back.
Yeah. We're going to go out and waste our time.
There's nothing we can do.
I know we can't catch them. But, who knows? Maybe they're interested too.
Yeah.
I live right next to a major base.
Yeah,
military base.
Yeah, we won't say on air because
So-
we're keeping our location secret.
We'll keep it located
Because
secret,
we're
but
com-
I have
we're
a
coming
feeling
out
I
there.
know it. Yeah, and I know which military base that is.
Yeah, I do too.
And so that's really interesting though, that they come out there afterwards. You get the best of both worlds, Bonnie. You get to see extraterrestrial aircrafts and real life awesome ones.
And it's got to be humorous to you because you know that these guys are never going to. It's like the Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner.
Yeah, you're never going to
You're
get
never
them.
going to catch them. But
Yeah,
but,
it makes me laugh.
yeah, I was gonna say, but some of those pilots are probably like, dude, let's go.
Yeah. Oh,
You know,
100%.
just because they want to see, you know, and it hasn't shot down any of their helicopters. So,
But I wonder if it's messed with any of their equipment, because you hear that sometimes too from pilots, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and those like nuclear silos.
Yes.
Getting shut off, and all, they can do whatever they want.
Well, so
honestly.
that brings me to my next question. Like, and you've also are obviously had many interactions, many hours, many times spent with this. So, man, I'm gonna bring up time again. I'm sorry, but are they just so much more advanced than we are?
I think they're interdimensional, aren't they?
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they are interdimensional. They use telepathic. What's the word?
Telepathy. Yeah.
Telepathy.
Yeah.
Telepathy. Yeah.
Telepathy. That's the word. Sorry.
You're fine.
Yeah, they use that. They can do whatever they want. Honestly, they're just so advanced.
But is that somewhere the human race is moving?
Beautiful.
Like, is that somewhere the human race will
Yes.
have the potential to evolve towards? Is that where we're headed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes. Humans have the capabilities of just the most amazing things if we put our minds to it.
If we're
and our
conscious
hearts.
to it, right? If conscious of it.
Yeah.
You got to open the door,
and,
man.
It's my hope. It's my hope that someday it'll be like Star Trek here.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can go into space, come back home,
Spread the word.
Meet other beings and learn from them.
Well, we're explorers. Humans are explorers by necessity. I mean, that's how we've evolved to this point, right? And so,
But humans love war. I mean, that's the thing is it'd be nice to have a peaceful planet.
Right. Well, and that was one thing Larry and I talked a lot about, and even you and I did when we were speaking with. We did the Single 7 episode.
Mm-hmm.
Is the only way I feel like we could have a peaceful nation is if we're not fighting for each other's resources, but instead we're trying to protect our own, like as a whole, as a planet. And so, and then you would get to that point.
There's a reason why my visitors are visiting regular people, not the government. Just saying.
Right. Well, there's more of us.
Because we're.
Because
power of the people.
Power of the people, right?
That's the best way is just regular people changing and raising their consciousness
and raising their offspring. To have that, right? And so it's a stair step.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel like they're coming to you? Man, warning is kind of like an aggressive word, but they're wanting to keep your enlightened spirit and to help spread it, right? So they're not here like the Pleiadians. Am I saying that right?
No.
Will you correct me?
Pleiadians.
So are they're friends of ours? Curious? Like, what is their mission? What is their objective?
Star Trek. Basically to raise the consciousness of humanity and
help us
fight
along.
the negative. Yeah, the negatives that are here on this planet and out in space, and
like those creepy grays that are always causing problems.
Yeah, because think about the grays. The grays, they abduct people.
Yep.
They do things to them.
They violate them.
They take babies. They take babies from women. I mean, it's so against the law of nature, or like our free will is.
So are the Pleiadians stronger?
Away.
Are they stronger than the Greys?
I don't know. I just know that there are many different types of interdimensional beings, aliens, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
fighting for us, for our humanity, and
So-
for a better world.
I love that.
Do these extraterrestrials, do they fight amongst themselves? So, I mean, is there, like, would a Pleiadian
Yeah.
take out a Gray if,
Yeah.
if need
Oh,
be?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like physically
Yeah,
or
see,
ideologically? If that
No,
makes sense.
Physically, ideologically, all of the above. They are actual, like, they're warriors. You know,
Mhm.
they're like warriors for love and raising consciousness and things like that. You know,
So
to me, they're the good guys.
So do you feel? Yeah. So I'm definitely like Team Pleiadian for sure.
Yeah, me too.
I want one of their uniforms. But do you feel like, okay, so the Greys are here aggressively trying to extract maybe resources and intelligence and actual humans and trying to take over. The Pleiadians are here ideologically to say, hey, we got to change the way your perception, we got to raise the consciousness of the people as a whole in order to fight off the Greys. So is that what you're saying?
That's probably just part
Well,
of it.
Yes, they do that, but I mean, there's battles going on.
I want to see
there
one.
are battles going. You know, like I think it was like a year or so ago. There was all sorts of weird seismic waves going on in the ocean.
Right.
The ocean, and scientists could not figure out what was going on.
Trav T group.
But
Mhm.
from what I know is that, you know, they were clearing out caves under
They're
the ocean.
They're clearing out Greys.
Greys, reptilians.
Good. Get them out of there. Get them out of there.
So the
Yeah.
reptilians, are they aggressive as well?
Yes,
They look scary.
They sound scary.
Yeah.
yes. You know, some people say that there's good and there's bad.
See, that's what I've read, that they were
personally-
peaceful, but I don't know.
See, I personally, I think, you know, I'll wait till the war is over and we'll know who's good and who's
Right.
bad. You know.
Yeah, that's a fair and balanced way to do
And I
it.
do, and I know I do sound crazy, but
No, you don't.
you know, this universe is crazier than we can even imagine.
You don't sound crazy, and that's why we're all here, because we all are of like mind. I mean, there's the universe is.
I just don't want to go too out.
I know.
Too out there, you know.
Yeah,
If I
yeah.
have some out.
Well,
out
and
there.
again, you're talking to me. I was a knucklehead, and I'm not like well versed on this stuff, but I get it. Like when you speak to me about this stuff, you know, and Keith will tell you a lot of times after we get done talking with somebody, I'll be like, man, that made sense. Like this to me makes sense. It makes no, it really does. Like it makes perfectly good sense, and it's really really intriguing. But I'm definitely Team Pleiadian.
Well, it's
Did I say
comforting
it right?
too.
It is.
Yeah, it's comforting
Well,
too,
there's
because it's
also-
like, you know, that they're not here to destroy. You know, here's the thing too. People always wonder, well, are the extraterrestrial, are they bad or whatever? It's like, dude, they got the technology to take the world out if they
Yeah.
wanted to. They would
Right.
have already did that. So obviously they're here for good, or like you said, the Greys are not good, but they're here for the resources, or to clone their people, or mate, interbreed, or whatever they do. So I think they're good.
Well, and when we talk about like reptilian, and I liked what Bonnie said about reserving judgment till the end. I think that, and I
Yeah,
said
that's true. That's a
That's
good-
fair and balanced, but
good point.
also with every army, there's always going to be factions within that army, or like a leader that maybe isn't like up to standard, maybe ethically. And so, like in the regards to the reptilians, you know, maybe some people have encountered them peacefully and have encountered other ones that weren't so peacefully. And maybe the ones that were unpeaceful or aggressive just weren't following.
Because
the
even
rules.
Hitler had good days, right?
Jeez, man.
Right.
where he seemed
Right.
where he seemed charming. And
Well, I mean,
everything,
look at the U.S. Army. You remember Abu Ghraib
yeah.
when
Yeah.
we had just soldiers that kind of went off on their own, went rogue,
Oh,
and did a really bad thing. And so, you know, that's my point. Like there could even be grays that are here for good, and we just don't encounter them as much because their mission's different.
Right.
You know.
Well, from what I know is that there's several different types of grays, so that there is at least one type that I do know of that are good. I don't know their names. I don't know their names, but yeah. But there's also like really good interdimensional beings like the Arcturians and the Lyrans and the Blue Avians and the Sphere beings and the Syrians. I mean, there's this this solar system is teeming with life.
Right. And so,
do you think it's like our world where, one breed wants to be in charge? Like United States, we want to be the leaders in defense and everything, profit, money, and
capitalism.
So is it kind of the same struggle they have there in their universe?
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I'm not sure about that.
So,
honestly.
do you think?
I
I have two questions for you. First is, do you think that in our lifetime we will be able to not the word contact is not the word because we're already doing that. Have a sit down of sorts. Like, do you think that we'll have the ability to consciously communicate with one of these factions?
Yes. I mean, people are. It's already happening.
I want like a 60 minutes interview.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's probably easier with people because
so awesome.
Yeah, because our political leaders are such egomaniacs, that they would want to dominate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They'd want the best deal if they sat down with these.
And that was my second question. Do you think that in the far distant future, whenever we have come together as a human species, in defense of the planet, not just of our own, resources, do you think that someday on a far distant plane or universe, they'll be talking about the humanoids or the humans? Do you think that we'll have the ability to travel like they do? To our does that make sense?
I'm kind of getting what you're saying. What do you mean humanoid?
Okay, so like for instance, right now the Greys can come and visit us and they can do things, right? Do you think that in the far future from like the humans will have that ability to travel to a different place and to encounter them? Okay.
But how could we biologically stand it though?
Yes, I think it's already happening with the SSP and everything, the secret space program. It's already happening.
So you think we're shooting people out there right now and testing it? That's probably a funny way to put it. Shooting people out.
It's already they're doing that for you mean like SpaceX and all of that, or what do you mean?
Well, what is SSP? I'm not familiar with that.
The SSP is a secret space program that supposedly, started like, a long time ago, like I think in the 50s or the 60s, and already goes to space and does stuff.
just trying to like gain intelligence and figure out how to keep going further and further.
Yeah, well, we already have that capability. Everything that we've got going on, in regular life, think about it,
But we'd have to move the speed of light, and we haven't been able to do that.
Not that we know of.
Well, not that we know of. True.
I think that's what she's saying is there's programs out there that we're not even aware of.
So Garrett, you think we have vehicles that can go the speed of light?
Man, I have no idea anymore.
Because I'm thinking if to visit planets, you'd have to have something that fast.
Think about the black budget, and the military budget, and all of that. There's a reason where all that money goes, and we don't know where it goes to.
Yeah, I'm sure that they're trying
Well, here's the
to
thing.
accomplish that, but I don't think they could.
Hey, when you do your taxes, do you get a receipt? Do you get a receipt as to where they spend all your taxes? Did they
No.
send you a receipt? Absolutely not.
I know we should ask for an itemized space
Yeah, can I
receipt.
please get an audit? Yeah, I would like to
Itemized.
know where my money is going. Because,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, because it's true. Like, there is a lot going on out there. We just write it off because day to day we're just like not conscious of it or not thinking of it.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, if we have a space program that we've, created a craft that can go the speed of light, that would be awesome.
well, I heard a debate recently. I think it was on Sunday, maybe, and it was between two groups, two teams. One was arguing that if we work with a nation like China with our space program, that would be way more beneficial. And the other team was arguing that if we didn't work with China and we created a race, that would be more beneficial, right? That we would get to the same place quicker. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
overwhelmingly, I could actually might be wrong on this. I feel like overwhelmingly, the audience chose that those who debated that working together was far more better than working separately.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and so that's promising. I mean, that's the general
Yeah,
public.
I mean, and that's the shame in the world that we all can't
It's
work.
competition.
That's exactly what it is. One wants to be the dominant leader
Right.
of something.
Well, it can either kill us or it can make us stronger. I mean, like, because they do say iron sharpens iron. So, like, when I was listening to the debate from my competitive brain, my meathead, I was thinking, yeah, let's compete with China, let's go. Because in my head, I was like, well, we're gonna win it. But
No, I'd want to work. I'd want to work together
Right.
because then you're striving towards peace.
Well, and that's what even Lazar talks about. That's one
Yeah.
thing that he wanted to do is he wanted to get the knowledge out there, kind of like Bonnie's doing. She's wanting to get the knowledge out there, hoping that other people will latch onto that, become more conscious of it, therefore pushing our agenda there quicker. So
Right. So Bonnie,
Well, both y'all should really look into the SSP.
oh, I'm
And
going to. I
that's
wrote it
all.
down.
I will. I'm
That's
going to
all.
do it tonight.
Yeah. Well, it looks like I'm not sleeping tonight. Thanks a lot, Bonnie.
So Bonnie, like the crafts, can you describe? Even if you could describe one craft, I mean, that got close enough that maybe with your eyeballs you could kind of tell certain characteristics about it. Is it the classic UFO we hear about? With a little dome on the top and it looks like a saucer, or what?
Yes.
What have you experienced?
Yes, I've seen. Oh my goodness, they are so beautiful. The discs, and I call them light craft.
Mm-hmm.
I think my visitors called them light craft. And oh man, it's kind of like a sombrero, and the brim, that's where all the lights come out and are shine. So yeah, they flash all the lights sometimes. Sometimes it's one. Sometimes it's just three. I've seen them get really low, really low.
Wow.
And just
How often does that happen?
that's rare. That's rare. When they get that close.
Can you telepathically
maybe-
ask them to bring their craft down lower so you can see better?
Yes, I've done that, and they have come down a little bit more.
Yeah.
But like one New Year's, I think it was 2018. I went outside, let my dog out, real quick. Didn't I wasn't expecting them. I didn't get that feeling like it's time to go outside,
Mm-hmm.
but something I guess did tell me to go outside real quick with my dog, and I didn't have my phone, and it was like right above my house, and it was oh my god, and it just glowed so brightly, and then it just disappeared, and it was during sunset, so it was like it was completely gone. There was no, like, you couldn't see the rest of the craft, even if it got like dim or what, it just disappeared.
So have you ever?
Poof, gone.
Wow. So have you ever telepathically sent them a message like, "I want to come in the craft. I want to see it.
Bring me up.
I want to take a ride."
Yes, almost every time, because it never gets old. It never gets old.
But I guess you've never been taken up in the craft, have you?
Not that I know of. Not
that you remember.
I got a message. I had been asking them, I was watching one fly by, and I asked it, like, please, come on, I really want to meet you. And the way that they give you messages, it's like movies, feelings, and words. And it repeats until you get it. And all I got was long handshake. And to me, like the information they were giving me was like, you're going to meet us, but this is a long handshake.
Yeah, we're keeping you at a distance for right now, but just to let you know we're here.
Well, also, physically, I one of the times I got, they're worried about my strokes and stuff like that. If I heal, I need to heal a little bit more.
Got it.
Could they help you with that process, Bonnie? I mean, because I've read.
They do. Oh my gosh.
What I was going to say, like even the experience in itself is probably helping.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Oh, I said the experiences that you're having in itself is probably helping as well.
Oh yeah. But for several months, during my strokes, my left eye went real fuzzy, and the doctors looked at my eye and said that it's not physical, it's something neurological.
Mm-hmm.
So I just they figured it'll just be the same forever. You're just gonna be kind of almost blind in one eye.
Right.
And after, every time I go and I see the crafts and everything, I'll go when it's time to go to bed. I would see this like neon green flame thing in that eye, and my eye is now almost better, like almost completely better.
Wow.
And I really feel like it was them. It was them, because I was asking them, because I was telling them, I can't really see that well. You're going to have to get really bright for me because of my eye. And I kept telling them my eye. And then, and then for several months, there was this green flame thingy, and I just knew it was them.
Wow. And now it's better?
I know that. Yeah, I know.
No, it's fine. Is it? But it's better. It's healed.
Yeah, it's almost like I can close my eye and I can see just about everything. There's few spots in my eye that are just a little bit fuzzy, just a little here and there, but it's almost all better. Plus my speech. They were helping me with my speech. I just know that they were doing something with me to help me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you talk about your speech, but your speech is pretty damn good.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, it's getting so much better. Every day it's getting better.
So have there been times since you had your first experience where maybe there's been a lull in the activity and you've thought, oh man, they're gone forever? Or is it pretty consistent? Like, are you able to bring these guys over, consistently, like when you need them, or maybe they feel like you need them and they're going to show up? Or has there been moments where they've kind of just disappeared for a bit and you've been worried?
Yeah, there was one time where there was 2 weeks where I didn't see anything. and I was devastated.
Right.
I was devastated. I couldn't. That's all I could think about, and I would go outside and just sit out there for like an hour or so, just like, where are you? Where are you?
Right.
And I had to realize something. Okay, these are interdimensional beings,
Right.
and they can be busy sometimes.
Yeah.
They might be busy. So, but oh man, the day it came back, I just
relieved,
almost got down. I just almost got down to my knees and was like, thank you, because there are times where I need them, or I'm feeling really down. Please, raise my consciousness, and
yeah.
man, they come every single time.
I might be completely wrong here, but to me, it seems like such a spiritual journey you're on, right? Like the ups and the downs and the intrigue, and sometimes the desire, and just all these emotions that you're going through. And even, when they're gone and you're thinking, well, what in the world? Like, this sucks so bad. But in that moment, you're like, you know what? You notice something. Your consciousness is growing. You think to yourself, they're interdimensional. They have other things to do. Like, I am a bit insignificant. And when you start to feel that way, boom, there they are. No, you aren't.
Yeah.
You're significant. You're important. That's cool.
Yeah, they did send me a message one time when I was asking them, why me? And I got, you're unique, you are special, you are part of the one. And the one means, the source.
Do you think it's because you're tuned in a little bit more so than the average person? So it's not so much maybe that, like, oh, Bonnie's so special, how come someone else with a stroke, someone like yourself who had a stroke but they have no help at all, but had that other person been tuned in, been aware, maybe we'd be getting the same visitations as what you're getting?
Oh yeah. Well, I feel like I'm a giant antenna, I that's what it feels like. And people with left brain injuries, they seem to see crafts afterwards. So that's something Grant Cameron talks about. His I think it's called modalities. But yeah, people with left brain injuries it's not common to have that, but when you do, you have like the same feeling, like there is no time, and you can contact interdimensional beings, and it just shuts off all the noise.
Right.
Yeah.
So does that, like, spiritual? Were you spiritual before this all happened? Like a spiritual person?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, let's say Christianity, for instance. Were you Christian or were you more spiritual?
Well, when I was a child, of course, I was Christian. My mom was Christian. So, and we ended up going to this one church, and this preacher, he began to be our landlord. Yeah, landlord.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember asking him, if when was God ever born? Because that.
Right.
And he was like, oh, God was always there, and I just couldn't understand that. So I went on a journey on religions, trying to find my right spot, but I could never find it. And I just went with, what my soul told me. And,
that's important.
Yeah.
So I was spiritual, but I was also scientific. I was, I'm still that way.
Just trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're on the journey, man.
So it almost So should there? You could almost have a fine line between So what do we pray to, aliens, or do we? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, for sure.
Because there is that question because they're doing so much for her, and almost in a spiritual way, does that discount the Bible for some people? I wonder.
Well,
or we have a big enough universe where everything can fit. I'm sure. Maybe what works best for somebody.
Yeah, I pray. I do pray, but I pray to the source and my guides and angels,
right?
And my ancestors and my interdimensional family. I call them my family.
Right.
It's just that's my team. But truly we are all one.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are all one. So,
because believe me, if I could get one of them to heal my diabetes, I'm on my knees praying.
I'm diabetic too. Diabetic.
Oh, I hate it, Bonnie. As you know, it's a daily fight, and the thing is, I am a horrible sugar addict.
Loves it. Loves it.
It's like, even though it's like, I will bargain with myself by going, I'll have the pie. I'll just shoot some more insulin.
Yeah, a little more insulin, dude. Shoot it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, slowly killing myself. But it's just like, it's a horrible disease. But and I've read, that there has been alien healings. With people who've had really severe stuff, and that extraterrestrials stepped in, and the person doesn't have that problem anymore. So
I think there was that documentary by Dr. Greer. It's his most recent one where they were talking about, this guy. I think he couldn't hear, and he went to
I saw that.
Desert.
Yeah, I saw it, and then he could hear again, Garrett.
Wow.
So.
Yeah. Well, it does. All this stuff, it does call it, and it begs the question of spirituality, though. It really does.
It is.
And that's why I kept kind of trying to hearkening back on some of the words and feelings that you were explaining, because I'm Catholic. So whenever you're talking about your experiences, what I'm seeing is somebody that's on a journey, and you're sacrificing. You really are. You're sacrificing your time and your brain power and your consciousness in order to reach something that you're not sure is really there, right? Until you've experienced.
You know what the difference is? She's getting good results.
She's getting great results.
So
yeah.
Well, I've been there. I've been to the other side, and
right.
There is, there nothing to fear. There's, I'm just trying to be the best person that I can possibly be.
Yep.
And answer some of these questions in my, that
right.
I have,
Mm-hmm.
Lingering questions that you've had since you were a kid.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
God, I had a question and it just slipped my mind.
Come on, Keith.
I know. Well, it's
Sorry.
good.
There's so many
No,
questions.
it's fine.
It's awesome.
It's just I'm getting old.
This has just been such a... Keith spoke with you before this, and I wasn't able to get on, but I know he was so excited, and this has been more than I even expected. This has been unbelievable.
Well, Garrett, I find myself now at night, where I used to look up hauntings and things like that.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking at UFO stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm
well,
trying,
I've been into the UFO thing for a while too, because just, with Larry and just having been in the military, and then you turned me on to the Lazar stuff and just listening to Art Bell. So, Bonnie, we did this episode recently about Single 7. And that's kind of where I really, whenever Keith showed me that interview, and it's about time travel, and this guy's essentially coming back. His mission in time was to heat up the earth to fight off the Greys. And so that's kind of was my... Yeah.
I watched that. Heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that, Bonnie? As far as like, you know, we're trying to heat the earth up enough to keep the Greys away.
Fend off
I mean,
the Greys.
do you think the Greys, that would be one of their objectives, is to inhabit the earth?
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I'm sorry. I just.
No, don't be sorry. We
She
wonder
doesn't
why.
believe single sevens.
Single sevens listening.
You know, I really, I try to keep it with my experiences, you know,
Yeah.
but, you know, from what I understand, that's not really a reason why.
A thing we'd
Yeah.
have to worry about.
Yes, but, you know, of course, you know, I just saw that there's going to be a famine, you know, here in America here soon and all kinds of stuff. So, you know, I mean, honestly, anything is possible. You know, personally, I don't think that, but, you know, if I see, you know, things going that way, then
Will you call me?
I'll change my mind.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Will you call me immediately, please?
You call me, Bonnie, and then I'll
Yeah.
call Garrett.
Yeah, call Keith and he'll get in touch with me on that. Thank you.
Yeah. What's the deal? One thing maybe you can explain to me. I've heard other theories on this, but why in the world would the Greys want human embryos when supposedly the terrestrials are like a superior being and superior race? Why would they want to dirty up their DNA with human beings?
It's a great question.
Well, I think that the typical Greys that are abducting people and stuff like that, you know, I think that they're clones or something like that. So,
But whose clones are they though?
Well, okay. So
I just went down a rabbit hole, Garrett.
yeah, the reptilians created the Greys.
Ah.
So are you saying like the Greys are like the reptilians bitches?
They're like an offshoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Interesting. Okay.
Gotcha. So
Yeah.
there's
a
so
lot of abductions. People with Greys. A lot of the time, there's at least one reptilian.
Oh, okay.
So still, I mean, unless I didn't hear you right, so why would they still want to steal one of the babies to make a hybrid or to, you know,
I don't know.
like I said, to dirty up their DNA if they believe they're a superior race? Unless
I
maybe
I don't know.
What
I
if-
really
what if-
don't know.
what if they wanted emotions and
lot-
they don't have that and humans do?
Yeah,
Who knows?
that could be possible. You know, I know a lot of women. Women seem to come to me, you know, with their abduction stories, and they really don't know themselves like why this is happening to them. So
Right.
it really pisses me off, honestly.
Yeah. Well,
That's unbelievable.
it is.
Sorry.
It is.
No, in a good way. There's a lot to think about there.
Well,
This whole interview's been unbelievable.
yeah, you're very interesting, as I said. You just, I learned so. You know, I love doing this
I love it.
because I learned so much. Because now, like Bonnie, you've got me on where I want to learn more about extraterrestrials. You know, and almost want to experience that again.
I do too. I really
I
do.
mean, because I always wondered, like I've talked to Bonnie about this on a pre-interview, Garrett, was, you know, that UFO that followed me, what was the objective?
I told you it was scanning your face.
Yeah, but for what?
I don't know. I don't know that part.
Because I've never, you know, the funny thing is that because I'm funny looking, and they're like, hey, we've never seen a human that ugly before.
Is that John Lennon?
Yeah. So it's,
No.
but it's like I never see him, and you know, it's like I saw it that one time, and now I'm kind of like feeling kind of down.
No, yeah, it was
maybe
like,
they said,
no, we're
God,
good.
yeah,
No.
this guy, we don't
Next.
need to waste our time with this. Yeah, who's next? Let's move on.
No, I'm going to say this. You have been on a path since since that happened. You've been on a path
For sure.
and
Oh, absolutely.
life, the human the human lifespan, very, very short, very, very short.
A blip.
And to the interdimensional beings, they live a lot longer. So, they could just be watching what you're doing, and then they're going to contact you when they're ready, when it's time. And it's.
I think they forgot about me, Bonnie.
No, but do you? To her point,
they never forget about you.
Well, to her point though, like, would we even be sitting in here having this discussion with Bonnie right now and doing this podcast if it weren't for that experience? Like, maybe that experience opened you up
That's
to all
true,
these other.
But also the other thing is, how do you know? So we found out tonight that there are some extraterrestrials with bad intentions.
Right.
So how do I know what I saw was good intentions or bad intentions, or maybe I'm glad they never contacted me again.
Well, I think I asked you like what you felt when you saw it, and you just had
Curiosity. Yeah.
I had curiosity.
Yeah,
That was
and
it. And that's about all I felt. I didn't feel like enlightened about anything, or I just.
It's kind of put you on this path of enlightenment.
But you weren't sure.
Yeah, it probably has helped me with that. I mean, honestly, after I saw it, I thought about it a lot.
Yeah.
But I never, but it didn't. I don't feel like it influenced me as far as
in that moment.
At that moment, yeah.
But you were also like 13-year-old boy.
But also,
you know what I mean?
Well, I've been on. Like I said, though, my whole life, though, I've been on the path for looking for the truth. What's this about? I'm no guy
exactly.
who, it's just like I've said this before. George Carlin said, "I used to be religious till I started thinking for myself," and that's what I started. And that's what I started doing. I started questioning, like, really, do we have a God that would flood the world and kill everybody? And because then that tells you, okay, God isn't perfect, and he admitted not being perfect by saying, "Oh, I'll never do that again. Oh, by the way, here's a rainbow." So it's, to me, it's like, that doesn't make sense to me. The Sodom and Gomorrah. If you tell anybody, hey, whatever you do, don't turn around, don't look, or I'm going to turn you into a pillar of salt. You tell any kid, don't stick that bean up your nose. They're going to stick the bean up their nose.
It's a test.
So why in the world? Yeah, but still, why in the world would a loving God who supposedly has this unconditional love for us do these horrible things? I mean, so that's why I started questioning the Bible, and that maybe it was written by the higher Pharisees to keep people in order. More so, if we scare, because you think about it, how do I control the masses? I have to scare them. I have to tell them, you're going to go to, because I chose this is against the law and I feel this is wrong. You guys are, God has told me you're going to go to hell if you do that. So I'm using that as a fear. But I mean, if you look at the Bible, and God, I'm probably going to get a ton of emails for saying this, it's almost mafia mentality. And when I say that, let me finish. When it says, if you don't love my son, you're not coming to heaven. So in other words, I'm holding a gun to your head and I'm forcing you to have insincere love for somebody who you may not, but you're just making that decision because you're scared, because you're because you have fear of going, what kind of God is that?
Don't tell anybody outside the family what you're thinking.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, like some people, that's one of the greatest books ever written, though, and a lot of it is open to interpretation, just kind of like, the way that we're speaking with Bonnie, like what she's interpreting, like, and through feelings and the lessons she's learning are like vitally important. So it kind of begs the question about the Bible. Was it a book that was meant to just be openly interpreted and then somehow got super off track?
Well, I think it was written by man. I think it was written to scare people. I mean,
it was printed by man for sure.
It was absolutely. So that's. But it's just like other people think I'm crazy because God, I'm just like I feel like I'm talking to a psychiatrist now.
Yeah,
but
thank you, Dr.
Yeah,
Bonnie.
Dr. Bonnie. But my next. Okay, here's another good one. Tell me the answer to this. I tell people I don't believe in hell, I don't believe in Satan, and I don't believe in demons. And the reason, and let me tell you why. Because if we have a God that has even more love that you and I can have for our children, right? So let's make a scenario. So Garrett, I come to you, let's say Kennedy turns, that's his daughter, turns her back on you, hates you, can't stand you, doesn't want to be anywhere with you. I come to you with a box going, okay, now Garrett, you can send them to hell or you can send them to heaven. Which button are you going to hit?
Well, obviously.
You're going to obviously hit heaven, and you're not anywhere near the level of God. So how in the world could God send any child of his to this horrible burning place where there's supposedly this pitchfork guys running around poking people? You know, that makes no sense to me. And as a Christian, I dealt with it. You kind of deal with a lot of guilt because you're like, oh, I committed a sin, and then I start thinking, this is the way I'm controlled. I mean, sure, in my heart, I know that's wrong, and I know in my inner soul that was wrong. You shouldn't have did that, and I forgive myself for it. But I don't think because of one man, Jesus. God, I hope I don't go to hell for saying that.
No.
But
continue because I want to follow up.
Because let's say I was a great person my whole life, but I never accept Jesus in my heart. But you've got Christians saying, well, that man's going to hell. How?
Well, you have some Christians, right? But here's what I talk to Cass about a lot, because I feel like I have a kind of a unique experience on faith personally. So having been, raised I'm Catholic, but for me, and I love the word journey and I love the word struggle, because what it sounds like is that you're struggling with your faith, which to a lot of Christians, they are finding comfort in their faith, right? That's empowering them. But the way I look at it is you should constantly be questioning your faith. So the fact that we're able to have this conversation and to open up our consciousness to it, to me, that's the ultimate form of faith. So like, for you, like you're saying, well, hey, I feel bad even bring this up, I'm going to go to hell. For me, I'm like, no, keep going. Like, keep challenging it, because that's what I feel like that's what I'm on this earth for, is to challenge it and to keep pushing myself. Because at the moment in which I become complacent with it, then I'm not moving anywhere. I'm not on the journey. I can't open my mind to even fathom the Greys or the Pleiadians. But when she speaks of it, I'm like, holy cow. For me, even with my faith, I'm like, dude, that's like, that to me makes completely good sense.
Yeah, but I'm in constant struggle with as far as like,
you should be. That's good.
Yeah, but I mean, well, thanks, man. That's comforting. But anyway, like for instance, when I say I don't believe in demons, I don't believe in Satan. But what are these things when I watch this film of a priest doing an exorcism and this spirit is speaking Latin? It's never spoken Latin.
And you're getting bit.
It's given demon names. Then, my God, do we live in a world where there's a God that actually allows this to happen?
What do you got, Bonnie?
Well, can I? Yeah,
I'll shut up.
Something? No. It's just hard for me because I'll forget what I'm going to say, like, immediately. So scientists put what do you call them? The things that plug on your
electrodes.
In your head. Yeah, electrodes. On people that were in the middle of Christian prayers, Muslim prayers, meditation, or like the Buddhas, or the Buddhists. I mean, anyways, they all their prayers come from the same place. That it's like they're in meditation.
It's amazing.
So yeah. So there's no difference. There is no difference with
Right, I get that, but where does Satan play a role in all this?
Well,
is he real?
Personally, I think that there are good dimensions and negative dimensions, and I think that they target, Christians, like these negative beings that have never been human.
But is it their objective to bring their souls to hell, though? I mean, is that the objective of these?
No,
because then if we say that, then we're saying yes, there is definitely a hell. Or is it just a creature that's? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They can trap souls. They can trap souls and
through fear.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because if you think about it, if you believe the whole hell thing, think how easy that would be for a spirit on the other side going, I can control this person.
Mm-hmm.
I can control them. And not only that, when they die, if I can get to them, I can control them on the other side, because if they still carry if they still carry this faith with them in Jesus, and they still believe in this Lucifer guy, I can tell them, And I mean, but you would think at some point someone, God would be going, okay, enough's enough. No, you leave my souls alone or something, But then you hear about haunted houses where, and this is another thing that kind of blows my mind, is you hear like, well, there's a dominant spirit that's got control of this child, and this other one, they won't let him cross. And I'm like, how?
Yeah.
I don't get that, because you would think, who would allow this dominant spirit to trap two souls in a house, because they say, well, like, we can't cross because of the guy in the dark hat. You hear that stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is that true? I mean, or is that a spirit that's lying to whoever the paranormal investigator is, who they're getting this message to, or, you know what I'm saying?
It gets murky.
It gets very
I don't
murky.
know that.
Because I don't see how one spirit should be allowed, especially on the other side, when you're free, man, you went through your life lesson. Right. I mean, hell is on earth pretty much. I mean, the things we go through, I mean, we can make it good, we can make it bad, but it's still a struggle.
100%.
Every day we're in fear of something, fear of not paying our bills, fear of being kicked out of your house, fear of losing your job.
Passive anxiety about your kids.
Yeah, my God, when we go to the other side, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
I don't want, and now I got to face a demon in the corner who's telling me I can't leave? Fuck you.
Yeah. Well, hopefully what happens is we enter into this place that Bonnie started out the conversation with, this place where you feel grass that you've never felt before, and you're able to see your all being, and you're feeling everything. And then, so that begs the question is, what the hell is going on in between? And that's where she used the word ascent. You have to find a way to ascend through that and have this belief. And it sounds like Bonnie's already had that experience. So until your consciousness is able to understand that and you're open to it, there's no way you can possibly ascend to that. So it makes sense that if you were younger or you were closed off, maybe you didn't open your mind to these other ideas, that you would be susceptible to somebody that is in that position to be like, you're going to sit in that corner and you're not going, you're not ascending.
But if I pass over and I know I don't have to listen to you.
Exactly. Then you can say,
so
you know
basically,
what?
it's what you're saying.
Yeah.
But what about, you hear about the children's spirits, which I think is horrible, and I hope to God that's not true.
Right.
About the little innocent children who pass away, and they're stuck because the man in the black hat said, I can't go.
Well, I'm going to be a warrior spirit. I'm going to go kill those guys.
You would think Michael, Archangel or something would come down and rescue these souls, and they're not here trapped in a house for 100 years.
You've heard spirits arguing before. Like, don't go. So
yeah, I heard
you
it
can
on the spirit
see
box.
where that would be an issue, where you would have these other spirits that are saying ascend, but that fear that you've lived with your whole life, that you wake up every day, that's all you know, would be the easy route to take and be like, no, you know what? My fear is still within me.
Yeah, and I get that too. I mean, also, like, I think every ghost, everything we hear bump in the night is a soul that didn't cross over because they're afraid of what they learned here on Earth of going to hell.
Right.
So they're afraid go ahead.
That's possible, but it could be, they're confused. They died with mental illness. There's so many reasons.
But wouldn't they retain their 100% of their brain function once they passed over? I mean, wouldn't that cloudiness, wouldn't that all that disappear once you died? And
once
if it
you
didn't,
ascend,
then that's not fair.
Yeah, or once you ascend, like, because I think that's awesome to use that word.
But how could you ascend if you still had that cloudy, murky, you had Parkinson's disease, and you passed over, and you still have a little bit of that Parkinson's disease? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what you're saying is you think that when you pass, there would have to be ultimate clarity, omnipotence. You're moving on.
That's what I think. I think once you, like, if I was a quadriplegic, I would hope to God when I passed over, I have my legs.
Well, 100%.
I have, like, I can walk.
Well, and energy.
Right. And then I would
have
that.
to know that you're dead. You have.
Yeah, but you would figure that out
so
eventually.
Many people,
And
it might take a long time.
But
because
how?
time
Why would it
doesn't
take a long time?
But time doesn't matter.
She's cutting out a little bit.
You know, it could be 100 years. It could be 200 years. It could be
Yeah, that's the other.
a day.
That's the other thing that gets me too is you hear some of these paranormal investigators going, well, they, 50 years later they don't know they're dead. How do they not know they're dead? No one's talking to them.
Yeah, but one of the guests we had said that time is not of the essence. It's like nothing.
Well, time is nothing on the other side, correct? I get that, and I can see that to a point. But I would think you would know, if say in spirit I'm walking around and I see you as clear as I see you now, but you don't see me, and I'm
Right.
like, hey, Garrett, in linear time, I would think, okay, maybe in 2 days I figured out, hey, I'm dead.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Or if you,
No, I get what you're saying.
and also when you die, this Bonnie did the same, or Amber did the same thing. Or not Amber, I'm sorry,
Kathy Owens.
You look up and you see your body down there.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm in spirit form. I'm dead.
And it almost
Why-
seems like
how
that
could-
has to be that way.
Well, how could
Yeah,
it not
but
be any other way?
I couldn't. Well, I was at a place spiritually and to where I just knew. I mean,
But I mean,
I'm
even if I
looking
wasn't
over-
spiritual and I was someone who wasn't spiritual at all, I get hit by a car,
Right.
and I wake and I get up and I see my body laying down there. That pretty much doesn't take a brain scientist to know, hey, I'm dead.
Right.
That's my body. Here I am now. Time to go.
and wouldn't that be where the fear sets in? Like,
Well,
oh,
yeah,
shit.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. No, I get that. I get the idea of getting stuck because I don't want to go to the other side because I might be judged because I brought those beliefs over to the other side.
But your argument is you are all aware.
Absolutely. So I mean, that's the thing is, I'm just saying, like,
You're in a
if I
conundrum.
die, I know I'm dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not. It shouldn't take me 50 linear years.
Well, let's go ahead and just put
understand.
it out to our listeners then. If you die and you're looking at your body, start to ascend. Don't stop.
Well,
Just go. Go.
I told my dad before he died. Well, actually, my dad passed away last month, but a couple of years ago.
oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah, he's already proved to me he's in a better place and he's moved on. I've had so many people saying they saw Dad and he was young and
Yeah.
vibrant,
Yeah.
and he looked happy, and which is just totally comforting and
100%.
awesome.
Yeah.
So now I just completely lost my train of thought because of my.
Well, you told him, like,
Oh yeah, I was talking to him, and I because he's of the Christian faith, so he's, he believes that way. He doesn't believe in ghosts, and he thinks he was, I think, pretty much like my mom. If it was a ghost, it was a demon. It was coming
Right,
from
yeah.
Satan. But I told him, I said, Dad, I go, one thing, do me a favor when you die. I said, when you see the light, I want you to go to it. Don't hang around.
Yeah.
Move, go on. And he said he would, but and I think he did because I think had he not, he wouldn't have came back as such a vibrant looking person,
Right, you're right,
and confidence that
yeah.
Pam, I didn't share this with you. When I was viewing my dad's body before, I knew this is the last time I'm going to look at my
Yeah.
dad. And I'm crying and I'm kind of rubbing his hand. And my wife said she heard my dad say, "Son, I'm not there. I'm over here."
Yeah.
And she goes, and my wife, I mean, she's tuned in,
Super.
but she doesn't really have audible. But she says, "I heard that."
Yeah.
And I was like, and that just gave me a lot of peace
Yeah.
too, because it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, he's already crossed.
Right.
He's just coming back.
And then Cass had the dream like 2 days later.
Right, when he saw him young, and then there's someone else.
And you hadn't even mentioned any of that to her.
No.
When I tell you she woke up a little bit like kind of startled, it's because when it happened with Granny, she thought, well, it was just memories, but then when it happened again with Grandpa, she was like, okay, this is.
Yeah, it's funny, Bonnie, because she was just dreaming, and my dad just interrupted her dream.
Yeah, he
just
barged in.
He just marged in the dream to say,
wonderful.
yeah, and he just told her, "What, I love you."
Yep, I love you.
So he was just, I think he was making the rounds saying,
Yep.
"I love you," and before
Yeah.
he, was
He
going
probably
back.
entered into my dream and was like, whoa, I got to get out of here because I have superhero dreams where I'm like running through like war zones and like jumping through shit. And he was like, I'm going to leave Garrett's dream for later.
Well, Bonnie, I apologize. I turned this into a total
Well, no, but
different subject than what we were on.
but no, I think that when we listen
No,
back
it's
to it,
not.
we'll actually be able to draw some parallels as to your experience and what you were just talking about, Keith, and faith and all that, and what Bonnie was saying earlier about her journey and her, through
It's
her
the
experience.
whole reason I put this thing together.
I know. I'm glad you did.
And that's,
I'm really glad you did.
it's the first time that my viewers are going to be able to hear what my beliefs are, what my fears are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, there's so many things I just didn't understand. I thought there's, maybe there's someone out there that can say, yeah, dude, you're right.
Well, here's the thing is you said, and this is interesting, you said, well, probably going to get a lot of emails about this. You're probably going to get a lot of people that email you and be like, hey, thank you for saying that, because that's also how I feel. Because
Yeah.
I don't think
Right.
it's uncommon, and it shouldn't be uncommon to feel that way.
I think a lot of people are really afraid to say what their heart is telling them because it goes against
Right.
the normal beliefs that we have or that we had shoved down our throats as a kid. And that was one thing. My dad had a horrible fear of dying because he grew up in one of those churches where it's hell and brimstone, the preacher screaming, you're going to go to hell. You did this, and he carried that on to his older age. And I always tried to tell him and comfort him saying, because he was afraid that he would go to hell. I was like, Dad, you're not going to hell. I said, we all make mistakes and, you're forgive.
Yeah.
There's forgiveness. And so, so it's just my take on everything.
One of the things that the Pleiadians or my visitors taught me was that guilt and fear and all of that is a poison. It's a poison.
Absolutely. And I think it was.
If you make a mistake and you truly feel sorry for it, you don't repeat that and you move on and you learn from it.
Become better.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think people who hang on to the guilt, and maybe I'm wrong, but those are the people that get anxiety, they get sick, they get cancer, because they've got this dark negativity in their body. So how can your body flourish?
How can you maximize your potential? Yeah.
When you have such negative thoughts and you live that negative life, that you're going to attract negative things.
The neurotransmitters in our bodies, the ones for feelings and for like your actual body, they crisscross each other, and so if you're sitting there, just thinking negative thoughts all the time and worry, you're going to get sick. It's just going to happen.
Absolutely. So that's why I think meditation is so important. Of clearing, at the end of the night, or what, it doesn't matter what day you do it, but just or what time of day, is just to clear your mind of everything. Let go of the day's negativity, wash it away, and then start your day.
Yeah, it's called being still. That's what
what you said your Pleiadians say, right? They tell you to be still.
Yes, and other beings they've said be still. Yeah.
Well, Bonnie, we better end this thing before we could talk all day or all night.
We're calling Bonnie.
Yeah,
again.
this has been.
Yeah, it's been a great conversation. So I hope you enjoyed it, and but it's.
I did.
We're on 2 hours now. So
Bonnie, thank you so much. It was so nice to finally meet you. I heard a lot about you, and this has been. I actually texted my wife. I was like, I can't wait for you to hear this.
Well, I feel
It's
like
been great,
we just touched the iceberg with Bonnie as far as.
I agree.
Because there's so many more questions I have about crafts.
We're gonna
have to have you back on, Bonnie. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm happy to connect with you guys, and I'd be happy to be on again. That is just fine.
It was meant to
and
be.
And if you ever have questions or anything, you can always shoot me a message. Or something.
Garrett, I've been sending you messages all week with questions. But no, yeah, Bonnie's a wise lady. So
I've learned so much. Thank you, Bonnie.
I mean, that's why I love this.
It.
Yeah.
I really appreciate, and you know, I'm learning just like everyone else. So,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. We're all on a journey, and
yeah,
for sure, all of us are on a journey, and we just hope that
yeah.
we're doing
Where
the
do you
right
guys?
thing, you know?
Yes, definitely,
So,
definitely. It's been a pleasure.
yeah,
Thank you.
Likewise, it's been awesome. And thank you for turning me on to the terrestrials. I mean, or terrestrials. Is that, I'm going to have to bleep or cut that word out. The interterrestrials.
Extraterrestrials.
Extraterrestrial.
Interdimensional
That's
extraterrestrials.
Yeah. Yeah, no, because I found myself now, I'm on this other journey
Me too.
of learning about what's this all about. You know what I mean? And especially being someone who saw a UFO. And, you know,
Yeah.
I didn't really, and even up to my age now, I mean, I didn't really look into it real hard. In other words, you know, I've always kind of wondered, why did I see it? Was there a reason? And now I want to learn about the different species. I want to learn, you know, and maybe see one again, you know,
Absolutely.
and see what
Yeah,
was that original message back in 78 or 77. I can't remember exactly what year that they have for me. But, well, Bonnie, thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we are going to talk to you soon, girl.
Have a good night.
Have a
all
good,
right. Good night. Good night, you guys.
good night.
Oh,
All
we're
right.
wonderful.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey,
So-
can I mention something real fast?
Yeah.
It's great. This platform is so awesome because every guest or caller that we've had in at some point in the discussion says, "Man, this sounds crazy," or "I know this sounds wild," or
Yeah.
"I know this is unbelievable." And it's like, yeah, it does, but it's actually really believable, and it's really like I understand it. It's not too far out there. Like when Bonnie was speaking, it made sense to me. Like
Yeah.
I could feel it. It was made perfectly good sense, and it was such a great conversation.
Yeah, it's very enlightening. And like I said before, her and even Amber, you know, knowing about the hybrids, I've heard of it. But now I'm actually like, I belong to Gaia. It's like a supernatural channel. It's about UFO. It's about everything, time
Cool.
travel.
Cool.
And I've been looking up lots of alien stuff. That I probably watched 3 programs on hybrids. But now I want to learn more about the breed, or not the breeds. I'm talking the
Pleiadians.
Yeah, the different species.
Right. Yeah.
Is I want to see what's the difference between this species, that species. It's funny because it's almost like it's almost a reflection of us in a way.
Exactly. Well,
Because there's different, like we have different races, we have
ethnicities, belief systems,
right? Absolutely,
agendas,
and it sounds,
objectives.
yes,
Yeah.
and it sounds like the extraterrestrials have the same kind
Well,
of
that's
thing.
why I was trying to ask the question, like in the future, is that the path we're going? Like if we're mirroring each other, is that the path we're headed? Is that we're going to be like that kind of, if we collectively come together as a planet someday and we're able to move at the speed of light, is that how we're going to be?
Yeah, I don't.
It kind of
Man.
sounds like it.
It does, but it seems still so
Out of reach.
so foreign, and so different from what we're used to as what we call normality or being normal.
Right.
That
But she also spoke about time and how our lifespan is just a blip. I mean, dude, how long ago was the combustible engine developed? Like 100 years ago? Like 120 years ago? I mean,
well,
maybe.
not that long, but yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? That's a blip. So think
Yeah.
about how far we've come, even since in the last 20 years we have flip phones, and now all of a sudden
Well, how much of that technology might be alien technology that we don't know about?
Elon, you son of a gun!
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, he's an alien.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking the other day, Garrett, about, the SD chip cards and the information that's inside that little bitty plastic card is like, who came up with that?
Yeah.
And that's just amazing.
It's
to me.
compounding was the word I was going to use earlier. Our technology is compounding. So
Well, can you imagine even if we went back like to 1982 and we showed you an SD card and go, hey man, I've got 150 albums on this little card.
Genius.
Yeah, I mean, you would be going, what?
Well, I heard a guy saying he did a study, he's an Australian guy. And, well, first off, he said, can you imagine going back to the year 2000 and going into a restaurant and saying, everybody stop. Okay, I just want you to know that in 20 years, when you walk into the same restaurant, everybody will be looking at a device in their hand and nobody will be talking. And he said, he also asked the question with older people like our age, would you rather break a finger or break a phone? And like 90% of the people our age were like, no, or break a phone. But then he asked people like under the age of like 25, and like 90% of the people were like, I'd much rather break a finger.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you'd rather break a bone in your body than give up your phone. Like that's the direction we're headed in, though.
But yeah, but you know, the thing is now you could break a phone and go get a new one that afternoon. Yeah, it is amazing. I mean, and that technology just kept getting. I mean, well, it keeps getting better. I mean, who would have thought? I got a contraption in my hand that I can not only pay bills, I can pay all my bills on it. I can do my banking. I can listen to music. I can watch a movie. It's unbelievable.
You can connect Bonnie through here so that we can talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the internet. Can you imagine trying to explain the internet to somebody back in the 70s?
No.
Or the 80s? I mean, they'd be thinking, what are you talking about?
So we're moving at a fast clip, though, is my point.
And I remember, Garrett, you know, being a musician and recording, and, you know, we always recorded on tape.
Right.
And then someone said, well, no, you can record digitally. And it's still, and I go, wait a minute, I'm hitting rewind. What?
Yeah.
How's it rewinding?
Right.
You know, I couldn't figure, it was just like blowing my mind. I'm like, I don't understand this. It's like, okay, I can record, but if I'm in there, is there a little tape in there? It's like, no, dude, it's just on a chip. Yeah. You know, like what?
Yeah.
And so it just made, you know, but God bless it, man. I tell you what, it makes recording so much easier now. I mean,
but we're
the editing.
It makes it to where, and that's the point I was making with her earlier, is that like now that all this stuff is kind of, we can grasp this stuff like mentally. Now we're moving on to bigger and better things that A, could destroy humanity, or B, enlighten humanity. You know, one thing, that's the direction we're going in. It's a fork in the road.
Right. You know, one thing I kind of wonder about too is like, you know, when you're trying to think of an actor's name, just put it in the phone.
Right.
So it's like, it's almost, you're limiting. I wonder if that's hurting our brains by not using our brain as much, because we're using the phone to look at everything. We're not trying to figure out anything anymore.
Also, the other side of that pancake is we're absorbing more. And so we're, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Although we're using
we can
it in
take
a different
information
way.
in much quicker now.
Right.
So I'll give it that. Like, you know, if we want to learn about something, we can go to YouTube. We can get watch a
But you're not
video.
getting in the car and driving to the library to look it up.
Right. I'm not going. And because you think about the time you waste from the ride to the car to the library, getting to the library, looking up trying to find the book,
finding the Encyclopedia Britannica.
By the time you did all that, you could have a PhD in whatever the hell you're looking at.
Yeah, but that goes to this other point of everything that you had to do physically to be moving and to go on that journey to find that information. Mm-hmm. Now we can just do it effortlessly at the touch of it. So there's the other side of that pancake where it's like, man, we're also kind of losing out, like humanity, what's brought us to this point, which was grinding it out, like wanting to find answers, grit, determination, you know, this is like those kind of abstract parts of what we are as humans are kind of getting lost in the mix because we have this thing in our hand. We're like, okay, there it goes. Ooh. So at one point we're getting smarter, and the other point we're getting dumb and lazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that, like I said, that's a big concern for me, as you know, I'm in my mid 50s now, and it's like, because I remember my dad doing this too. Like, he'd be in his late 40s, and he would go to the grocery store for my mom. He would not make out a list.
Right.
Because he wanted to remember it, and he thought that was good brain power. Yeah. And he was probably right.
Yeah, 100%.
But now it's like, if I go, you know, I've got an app on my phone called Grocery List, and I put out what I want, and then it's awesome, dude. I just hit it, and it disappears if I find it, you know?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's like you can actually even like find, like, say a recipe, you can take it, transfer it over to the grocery list.
I don't want you to think at all.
Yeah, I know. That's what worries me a little bit. I mean, I see your point earlier, what you were saying about, well, we're able to take in a lot of information.
Right.
And that's right. But I'm not using brain. I'm not using those synaptic gaps.
Right.
I'm not firing my brain.
What your dad was doing was he was being disciplined, and he was trying to, like, you know, harness that tool he's got inside of his skull, and that's where the grit and the determination, those aspects of life that are really important about being human.
Yeah.
I mean, think about all the times that you have to push through the day. I mean, you were talking earlier. I was like, man, that's our ultimate goal. When she was talking about what she felt, and that when that fear was going through her, and that outer body experience, that's what we want to do. We're not going to be able to do that by just sitting around touching our phone. That's going to take us, like, mentally preparing ourselves, looking outside of the box. Like, so that's why these discussions to me are so intriguing, because every time I walk away from it, I'm like, man, we're all getting at the same thing, but from a huge, array of perspectives.
Yeah.
From Bonnie to Amber to Kathy to, Kathy Owens, Kathy Nance, like Dr. Corelli. I mean, we're all kind of talking about the same thing, honestly.
Yeah.
Just a million different ways.
It's so fun. I mean, and
thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. But together, I mean, we're on this new journey together.
We're on a spacecraft, dude.
Yeah, and we're learning, and it's so cool to get everybody's opinions and to find out new, like, again, I know I keep going back to extraterrestrials, but I've learned more in about 3 weeks of talking with
100%.
Bonnie, Amber, than I, my whole lifetime.
Oh, 100%.
Which made me want to get on a quest to learn more about it, because I for one, and I know a lot of people don't believe in UFOs, but because I saw one, I know there is life 100%. Out there.
Yeah, I believe it.
There's life out there, and it's interesting though. But it almost sounds like their life's as fucked up as ours is, right?
I want hard evidence. Okay, well, it's out there. Like, there is hard evidence out there.
There's some people, dude, you'll never ever get through to them, because they're locked into, I'm not believing. And again,
there is evidence though.
There's evidence. I mean,
there is concrete
see that,
evidence.
Yeah, I mean, you see that with the ghosts. People going, well, there's no evidence. But I pick up a voice on a recorder that asks or answers a question I asked. What else do you need?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't, I'm not picking up a radio station.
Yeah.
Because it's answering my questions. So it's just, there's something out there. Like I always said before, I think people fear that because they don't want to believe that, because now you've rocked their world. You've turned them upside down on their beliefs. Now they're like, shit, I got to look at this other way of thinking.
But once you embrace it as a challenge, then you're like, oh, okay, cool. Because that's how I am. Like, my personality. Like, I want to challenge things. I want to be like, okay. And then whenever it is challenged, you go down this rabbit hole, like we've been calling it, or, this journey. It's so fulfilling. It's a fulfilling.
It is.
It's a fulfilling thing.
It is. I'm so glad that we decided to do this. And, man, like I said, I'm learning something. Every episode we've done, I've learned something.
More to come, man.
Yeah, and there's so much more to come. Well, dude, we need to get out of here.
My wife's mad at me.
Oh, well, what else is new, right? So
get in line, honey.
Yeah. Anyway,
thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Join us Thursday, because we have a special announcement on Thursday. Plus, we are going to be doing part 2 of Single 7, which will be interesting. And we will see you guys next week. Nope. We'll see you Thursday night. Everybody have a great night. We'll talk to you later.
Single 7. You know how to get a hold of us.
Single 7. Any time travelers out there?
205-730-6441.